Welcome to In Focus on UATV. Today we cut through the noise to look at the battlefield reality. Ukraine is no longer just defending its sovereignty. It is emerging as Europe's premier security provider. From advanced homegrown counter-ballistic missile tech to battle-tested drone networks, Kyiv is reshaping global defense logic. Meanwhile, behind the Kremlin walls, panic is setting in. Desperate for manpower after record-breaking losses, Moscow is preparing to force hundreds of thousands into the meat grinder. Diplomacy is only as strong as the firepower backing it up. Today, Ukraine acts as a heavyweight fighter, landing strategic knockouts on an oversized adversary. With initiatives like the Freya anti-ballistics project and expanded drone deals, Ukraine isn't asking for protection. It's offering Europe an ironclad defense shield forged in actual combat. Here is how Ukrainian diplomacy is turning battlefield engineering into global leverage.
Ukraine is no longer viewed solely as a country defending itself against Russian aggression. Today, it is increasingly seen by its international partners as a security provider that strengthens the security of Europe and the wider world. According to Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha, this shift has been made possible by the achievements of Ukraine's armed forces, the rapid development of its defense industry, long-range strikes against Russian military infrastructure, and active diplomacy.
Ukraine is becoming a provider of security. When I speak with many of our international partners, they compare Ukraine to a boxer in the ring, one who is fighting an opponent from a much heavier, in fact the heaviest, weight class. Yet Ukraine continues to take the punches and still manages to knock its opponent down.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has outlined a key priority for Ukraine's diplomatic corps: strengthening the international coalition supporting Ukraine. One of the main objectives is to intensify sanctions and other forms of pressure on the Kremlin, ultimately forcing Russia to abandon its war against Ukraine.
We cannot predict with complete certainty when all of our diplomatic efforts, long-range sanctions against Russia, our mid-range strike operations, and the sanctions imposed by our partners will reach a level of pressure that leaves Russia with no alternative but peace. We will do everything possible to make that happen before winter. But we clearly understand who we are dealing with and that Putin hopes to prolong this war.
Another major foreign policy priority will be promoting Ukraine's anti-ballistic missile initiative, known as Freya. President Zelensky believes the project should become the subject of broader international cooperation and attract new partners. The anti-ballistic coalition currently includes 10 countries and 12 defense companies. Ukraine hopes to expand the initiative further, with the long-term goal of integrating Freya into a future European missile defense architecture.
Our Freya system can become a common European solution that provides integrated protection. It will be quick to manufacture and proven under combat conditions. Ukraine is capable of producing both the interceptor missile and the launcher. The decisive factor is cooperation with our European partners, companies that possess the radar systems, sensors, and other technologies required for a comprehensive anti-ballistic defense system.
Another focus of Ukrainian diplomacy is expanding the drone deal initiative. President Zelensky announced that Ukraine is preparing 15 additional agreements covering defense cooperation, technology sharing, and long-term investment in Ukrainian drone production. He stressed that, thanks to its battlefield experience and rapidly expanding defense industry, Ukraine is already in a position to become one of Europe's key security providers.
Our goal is clear, specific, and absolute. Today, Ukraine's contribution to European security is such that it is Ukraine that can serve as a reliable guarantor of Europe's physical security. What our armed forces, our experience, and our defense industry can provide cannot be replaced by any signature on any political document. Signatures and promises cannot intercept Russian drones or hold the front line. Europe needs Ukraine.
Ukraine also plans to broaden its diplomatic outreach. President Zelensky has instructed diplomats to intensify engagement with China in an effort to prevent Beijing from increasing its support for Russia. Kyiv also intends to strengthen ties with Syria as the country undergoes political transformation following the change of government. Special attention will also be devoted to expanding partnerships across Latin America and Africa. By doing so, Ukraine aims to strengthen its position on the global stage and widen its network of international partners. Reported by Irina Yusupova, Yevhen Savitsky, UATV News.
While Ukraine scales up smart weapon manufacturing, Putin's military machine is running out of options and men. In July alone, Russian forces suffered a staggering record of nearly 43,000 casualties. With voluntary enlistments completely dried up, the regime is gearing up for a ruthless wave of forced mobilization right after their September elections. Moscow's military command continues to feed Putin fabricated wins, but on the ground, internal dread and resistance are rapidly rising.
Forced mobilization. Russia has not abandoned plans to send even more people to the front after the State Duma elections scheduled for September 20th, the Wall Street Journal reports. According to the newspaper's sources, the Kremlin hopes to replenish its armed forces with thousands of new recruits. However, they say even that will be insufficient to produce any significant changes on the battlefield.
While Russia's first wave of mobilization focused on reservists and men with prior military experience, the next stage is expected to target people with little or no military background. The political risks of such a decision could outweigh any potential military gains. Some Russians have already indicated they are prepared to resist. From the Wall Street Journal article.
The reason Vladimir Putin may resort to another large-scale mobilization is clear: Russia's mounting battlefield losses in its war against Ukraine. According to Ukraine's General Staff, July 2026 marked a record month, with 42,860 Russian troops reported killed or wounded. In total, during the first 7 months of the year, Russian personnel losses reached 238,650.
Russia's plans for the 2026 campaign have effectively collapsed because of enormous losses. They reached a record 42,000 in a single month, while only around 30,000 replacements are arriving to reinforce Russian units each month. Under those conditions, it becomes extremely difficult to sustain offensive operations.
According to the Wall Street Journal, the flow of volunteer contract soldiers has effectively dried up. As a result, Russian authorities are increasingly relying on law enforcement agencies to force men into military service. Men are reportedly detained on the streets near their workplaces or during routine identity checks. They are then taken to recruitment centers, where they are allegedly beaten and subjected to fabricated criminal charges.
So, you wouldn't want to go?
No, I don't think anyone would. Mobilization has been happening since the beginning of the war. It has never stopped, and I doubt it will stop anytime soon. These decisions are being made against people's will and against their interests.
Fear of another mobilization is fueling public anxiety across Russia. According to a survey by the Russian Public Opinion Foundation, the share of respondents reporting anxiety among relatives, friends, and colleagues has reached its highest level in nearly 4 years. In just 1 week, from July 24th to July 29th, the figure rose from 53 to 57%. The only higher level was recorded in autumn 2022, immediately after Putin announced what the Kremlin called a partial mobilization, when public anxiety reached 70%. Analysts say such concerns are increasingly likely to evolve into open resistance to the authorities.
When we see people physically preventing the authorities from taking their fellow citizens for mobilization, it shows that resistance is escalating. People want one thing from the authorities: to end this war. And when they see no legal way to achieve that, the confrontation will only deepen.
Surveys and online behavior also suggest that many Russians have no desire to fight. According to Google Trends, searches for mobilization exemption have reached their highest recorded level. Human rights organizations also report a sharp increase in requests for legal advice on avoiding mobilization. The organization Get Lost says it now receives between 150 and 200 inquiries every day.
The increase in requests has also been confirmed by the Conscientious Objectors Movement, the Conscript School, and Get Lost. People are asking about deferments, obtaining medical exemption status, leaving Russia, mobilization notices, and reserve personnel lists maintained by employers. The Conscript School describes the current mood among reservists as mild panic. According to the Conscientious Objectors Movement, while people asked in the spring whether mobilization might really begin in autumn, they are now increasingly asking what to do if it is officially announced. From Novaya Gazeta Europe article.
Military analysts say Russian generals continue to reassure Vladimir Putin that another mobilization could improve Russia's position on the battlefield. However, according to the Institute for the Study of War, senior commanders are systematically presenting an overly optimistic picture of Russian advances in northern Ukraine while downplaying the effectiveness of Ukrainian operations in the area. Reported by Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.
Paper promises and political signatures don't intercept ballistic missiles or hold front lines. Combat power and proven tech do. Ukraine has proven it has both. Putin's hope to drag out this war is colliding with mathematical reality. High-tech warfare always beats brutal, low-quality mass. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to support true military clarity. This is In Focus on UATV. Stand strong, stay informed.